So thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Mark Sneider. I'm president and founder of RSW US. We're an outsourced new business firm that works primarily with marketing service agencies and also works with other professional service firms as well. I'm joined today by Sam Littlefield, the president and CEO of the Littlefield Agency based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sam, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Mark, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it, and it's great to be on. What do we call this? A podcast, video series?
Yeah, video pod. It'll be in both places.
Perfect.
Yep.
No, so happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I thought maybe we'd start with having you tell us a little bit about the Littlefield Agency.
Yes, of course. Littlefield Agency is founded, and we are located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have 25 employees, and we are lucky enough. We specialize in the B2B manufacturing and financial institution space. We actually just celebrated our 45th year in business last week. So 45 years. I had an opportunity. I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point. I transitioned and bought this agency from my father, who founded it in 1980. And I took over in the heart of the pandemic, which is a wild time to take over an agency. But here we are 5 years later, celebrating 45. And we got a great crew here in Tulsa.
That's great. And I just saw some press that you guys were included on today.
Yes.
Really showcasing the strength of the agency in terms of year-over-year growth. And it's great to see it 45 years in and you continue to grow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so. top 10 rising star we were named, and we cracked into the top 25 B2B agencies in North America, which is a great thing for us.
That's fantastic. Yeah, congrats on that. So let me start, first of all, just by having you talk a little bit about marketer-agency relationships. Yep. And in your opinion, kind of what you think the key factors are to creating great partnerships, relationships with the clients that you work with.
Yeah, of course. I'd say ever since the pandemic, I think the biggest thing our agency has realized is the power of a great relationship from the agency side and on the client side. I tell prospective clients, I tell any of our current clients this: our clients hire us because we're really smart people and we bring a talent to the table that their internal team may not have. So of course, right, they're paying agencies lots of money to drive results. Right. Like I mentioned, my father started this. He would tell you that every business at some point is going to have a sales challenge, and if you're a great agency, you're going to have a sales solution. So for us, from an agency and client relationship, we're getting our clients the results that they are, working with us to get. Right. And Mark, a big part of this too is I am very anti-transactional relationships. So the word that makes me cringe is vendor. Luckily, our clients call us a vendor, we're their partner, right? I think that's very important. Now more than ever, of being a great strategic partner. We love to have a seat at the strategy table is what I tell our clients. And those kind of relationships, just I think that where both sides see a lot of value, client side and agency side, makes for a really great relationship.
Yeah, that's so true. I tell our agency clients that, you all kind of do the same thing, What really sets 100%. A great agency apart from others is smart thinking, looking at it like it's a business relationship and trying to, help move that client, down a positive line. And so
it's such a great point. One thing on that note is I'll tell our clients or prospective clients this, hey, there's a lot of agencies that can make things look cool or pretty. That's wonderful. We've got an amazing creative department here at the agency. But how do we emotionally connect to your target audience, and how do we drive results? How do we get you more leads and, ultimately enhancing more sales for your organization?
Right. Yep. So this next question kind of builds on that. Are there, what would you say some of the best retention strategies you've employed to keep your clients around for, a long time?
Yeah, so great question. Obviously, right, they need to see the results from their agencies. Right. We totally get that. From a retention strategy, Mark, I tell our team every day the more, and here we are on this, Riverside video streaming. This is great because you're in Cincinnati and I'm in Tulsa. The more that we can see our clients face to face, of course, we're seeing them on Zoom throughout the weeks and strategies, but there's something special about breaking bread, playing golf, having a client in-house to the agency, going to their space, seeing the client's headquarters, et cetera. There's a magic in that. During COVID, right, a lot of people went remote and hybrid, and some people are transitioning back to in-office. And the biggest eye-opening thing for us over the last 5 years is how important it is to have face-to-face relationships.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing for us. And I always tell clients too, we present on media metrics through analytics dashboards. Soft metrics are wonderful. They're great. Okay. We got you 50 million impressions and clicks,
Yeah.
et cetera. Our whole program is what happens after the click. That's great.
Sure.
But for us, it's, again, how are we driving you the results that you're looking to get and ultimately impacting your bottom line?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think we've all sort of found it relatively comfortable to sit behind the camera
And behind email.
yeah, right, and talk to folks. And
Yeah.
we were actually just talking about that internally here today in terms of employing our own retention strategies, the importance of being face to face with clients. And it's a, we've fallen out of practice, and
Yeah.
it's great to hear that you guys have really worked hard to build that back up and make that an important
And
part of who you are.
our clients appreciate it, right? We have a client about an hour and 20 drive away, so it's 3 hours round trip. We go see them at least once a month. We have a client that's almost 3 hours north of us. We're seeing them on a monthly basis, and the marketing manager for that client drives from Wichita, Kansas, down to Tulsa, Oklahoma once a month to see our team. So we get to see them almost twice a month, and it's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you talked about your agency focused in the B2B space, and I know, just knowing the Littlefield Agency, that has pretty consistently kind of been where you have landed. Can you talk to me a little bit about specialization, what you've seen in the market, sort of the benefit to a specialized agency for the agency and for the marketer?
Yeah, no, of course. So I find it, you and I have been working together for almost a decade now. And I remember when we first started working, I've been back at the agency for 9 years. And I remember we were trying to be all things to all people. And you very politely told David and myself, hey guys, that's great, but from a national standpoint, you got to focus.
Right.
And, I think you held our feet to the fire very nicely, Mark. And as we specialize in this B2B manufacturing space and financial institutions, I have a great story. We had a pitch 2 years ago, a huge manufacturing brand in the Northeast, made it to the finals, and ultimately ended up winning the business. Well, the two final agencies were ourselves. I don't know who the other one was, but they were a generalist agency. And the CMO calls me, and I got the call. That's always a good sign, right? And he goes, hey, we're leaning towards you guys, but one thing that I thought of, you do this every day for B2B manufacturers, are we going to get in what he called a cookie cutter, marketing plan?
Sure.
And I said,
a reasonable question.
I was like, that's a great question. And I said, here's the thing. You may think it's cookie cutter, but our understanding of your complex B2B business model, our understanding of dealerships, distribution networks, that takes a lot of time, energy, and effort to get the generalist agency that's telling you, hey, you go with a B2B specific firm, you're going to get a cookie cut. No, we know your business so well. We know your target audience. If you want to spend an extra 6 to 12 months on getting someone up to speed on your business model, by all means. Right. If you want us to start tomorrow and get going on really good creative and generating more leads for you, let's hit the ground running.
That's great.
And he goes, hey, you got the business, right? So information of, we know that business so well. Yeah. And we understand the model. Why would you work with anyone else?
Right. Yeah. That's great.
And again, we have you in large part to thank for that, Mark, because you're like, hey guys, you got to get together.
I remember many a phone calls with your father as he was deliberating the future direction of the agency.
That's right.
Yeah, and I have vivid memories. I was at a conference and taking a call from him, and so I'm glad I'm really glad it's working.
It's worked out, that's for sure.
So speaking of your dad, I've got one last question for you. So I've been operating in this outsourced new business space for the last 20 years, and I've seen a lot of children of founders take over agencies, and it doesn't always end in a great place. The
Yeah, they're
character,
amazing. Yeah,
personality of the son or daughter doesn't really mirror that of the parent, and kind of changes the nature or culture of the agency in a way that isn't as positive as it could
yeah,
be. I think, in my opinion, looking from the outside into your organization, I think that is absolutely just the opposite for you guys.
thank you. Thank you.
David is a great guy and did a great thing in building up a really solid agency. But I think you've really sort of taken it to a totally different and better level. Sorry,
I
David.
appreciate,
Um,
I appreciate
uh,
you'd
so
appreciate that too.
I'm curious. Two questions. One, what were some of the toughest things you had to deal with in making that transition over to this president and CEO position?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I've been at the agency officially for 9 years now. Well,
Okay.
unofficially, I've been at the agency for 33 years, right? I've grown up, and we're
Yeah.
very fortunate, Mark. We have a long tenured employees here. Our creative director's been here for 20 years. 20 years ago, I was 14 years old. It's crazy. So the hardest thing was you come in as the boss's son. I have to work harder than anyone. Happy to. Not just here to just enjoy a salary and go home. Like, hey, I am taking this over.
Yeah.
Was very fortunate in building on a wonderful foundation provided by David. And but the hardest thing was there's a lot of employees that were used to David's leadership style for
Sure.
2 decades, because we have a lot of employees between the 10 and 20 year mark. And God love my father, he'd call you a lot because he's an overthinker. He's a 6 on the Enneagram. You got to think through everything. I'm a
Yeah.
gut guy. I have
Yeah.
a feeling, go. Well, Sam,
Yeah.
should we think about this? Nah, no, it's good. It's all gonna work out, right? So it's
Yeah.
just very different leadership styles.
Sure.
But one thing that I appreciate most about my father is when I joined 9 years ago, we had a handshake agreement. Father son always comes first. Yes, we are working together. Yes, you were potentially buying my agency. Obviously, I ended up making that happen. Um, but when he sold the agency to me, he looked at everyone that has been loyal to him from over the years and said, "Sam's the guy now. You don't come to me." He was in the office for a couple of days a week. Now he's completely he's fully retired, which is wonderful for him. But hey, this isn't the David show anymore. It's Sam's show, and he's a smart guy, and he's going to
Yeah.
respect you guys. And
Yeah.
to your point, Mark, he's going to take this to a new level. So saddle up
Yeah.
and let's go. We
Yeah.
had some employees at the time that chose to opt out and leave, and that's okay. There's no
Sure.
hard feelings,
Sure.
and we have a
Yeah.
lot of employees that chose to stay, and it's a really good thing.
Yeah. What would you say, are the one, two things you're most proud of, over the 9 years you've been
Yeah.
at the agency?
Two things that come to mind is in 2020, right? I transitioned to president. I bought the agency in January of 2021. Transitioning as a young kid into a president role, and then the global pandemic happens. You start at the top, and you're all of a sudden at the very bottom.
Hmm.
We took a hard look at ourselves. We cut a whole department. That was hard. We brought in a whole new department, media and analytics. It's the best decision we've ever made. We had that outsourced, and we brought that in-house. It's a party of 6 department now. So that has been an absolute value add for our clients. The best thing we've absolutely done in the last decade. And then, Mark, we were really, really cool. 2023 and 2024, we were named Ad Age Best Places to Work. We were number 12 in 2023. We were cracked the top 10 last year.
Right.
That is a huge motivator for us internally, because it's a validation that we are doing something right. Because the most important thing at the end of the day is the culture that we've built here at the agency.
Yeah.
So we're going for the three-peat next year. We'll see what happens, but to go
Nice.
back to back is really cool.
Yeah, that's great. Now, you visit the agency's site, and you can really feel the
It's a
energy
good
and
energy here.
excitement, and it appears that the people that work with you seem to be really proud of the fact that they're working at the Littlefield Agency, and so
No, I
that's a
appreciate
great thing.
I appreciate that, Mark. And I think that the number one thing for us internally is, hey, we're not curing cancer over here. No one's dying in our business.
Right, right.
So it's a good. I was very fortunate. I had a boss in San Diego before I moved back to Tulsa that gave me that advice when I was really stressed, and it always stuck with me. And so we operate on that mantra. Of course, we got to get our clients results. We got to be
Yeah,
great partners and stewards of their marketing dollars. But at the end of the day, guys, show up, do a great job, go home and love your families. And it's been a good
Yeah.
thing for us.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right. Well, hey, listen, this has been a great conversation.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate the perspective. I think it'll be, helpful to other agency principals watching, and hopefully inspiring to some of the marketing folks that we'll be sharing this with. So Sam Littlefield, President, CEO of the Littlefield Agency out of Tulsa. Thanks so much, and you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, Mark, my friend, thank you so much for having me on, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.